We have severe weather going on in parts of the plains and in parts of the Northeast as well. And of course, our Joe Rayo will be taking us on a radar tour around these areas. Looks like some smoky conditions that are around the Great Lakes and also in southeastern Canada could be heading for the Northeast over the next few days. We still have excessive heat going on in the southwest, and my air conditioning broke. Isn't that fabulous? All of that and more on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show, brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, in southwest Suffolk County on Long Island. And head over there with your truck and fill it up with mulch, topsoil, sand, and anything else you need to make your home or business look great. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. The website is
OmniTrueValue.com.
And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. They also have other weather electronics and the latest in smart weather fashion. The link is pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this video. And be sure to use the coupon code Joe and Joe Weather Show because
you're going to get 10% off anything that you may purchase. So
purchase it.
If you're going to purchase something, purchase it. It's too late for Father's Day, but maybe you have a birthday coming up, or maybe you know someone who might like a brand new weather station. Take advantage of that 10% discount, folks.
It's less than 6 months till Christmas.
That's right. We're less than halfway to Christmas now.
We are. Yes, most definitely. All right, so we've got some busy radars tonight. They're not quite as busy as they were yesterday in the Northeast and Northern Mid-Atlantic states, but they seem to be busy over the same area. You know, in the wintertime, we always talk about with snowstorms how there's always a jackpot zone somewhere. And yesterday's rainfall clobbered a lot of areas in New Jersey with up to a half a foot of rain, particularly in North Jersey. And it looks like the same areas are in the jackpot zone again today.
Yeah, last night, around midnight, we had a really wild and woolly thunderstorm pass over my house. I mean, on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being what I would call explosive thunder, this ranked about a 7 or 8. In fact, I could even feel, I was in bed at the time, and so was Renata. I mean, I could feel at the peak when we had the loudest booms out there, the mattress was resonating, if you will, or shaking a little bit from those explosive cracks of thunder.
You're going.
It is really something. Now you say to yourself, well, you must have had a hard time sleeping or whatever. Renata really had a tough day yesterday, so when she went to bed, and like I'm hearing ba-boom, and meanwhile she's going. She was out, but she did wake up when she saw me head to the window and open the shutters, because we had a wild light show with these storms. And this morning on my weather station, no, it was not a tempest, but I'm sure the tempest would have did just as good a job if I did have one. But on my Davis weather station, something like 1.55 inches of rain. 1.55, and a lot of that was occurring, with that big storm around or just after midnight last night.
Yeah, a lot of folks said to me at some certain points in New Jersey and some of the storms in North Jersey that their rainfall rates for a very short period of time was at 6 inches an hour. So that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water coming down awfully fast.
Well, these poor folks in West Jersey, especially, they're getting hit again. And when you give me my cue, Joe.
Go.
He says. So I'm going to do that right now. I
have stepped off the screen as we wait for Joe Rayo to work his technical magic to get the radars up. Yep, there they go. All right, take them around while I look for the phone number for the air conditioning guy.
All right, so we'll take you on the tour. This is the National Weather Service radar out of Upton, New York, and you can see that it is picked up on not necessarily a line, but a swath, if you will, of significant shower and thunderstorm activity crossing through western and now into northern and central sections of New Jersey. The activity seems to be moving not straight east, but east northeast. And it looks like I live up here in Putnam Valley. So we may be seeing, in the next hour or two, some activity here. Although take note of the fact that it appears that some of the darkest shades of red are fading a bit. We're heading for sunset now. And so, as a result, some of this activity may weaken a bit, but still could carry quite a bit of rainfall. As I said, we've already picked up in my neck of the woods about 1.5 inches of rain. And so we may see additional amounts coming our way in a little bit. So you folks who live in the western part of New Jersey, you know what I'm talking about. And in fact, that's been the theme the last couple of nights, is that places generally west of the Hudson River have been getting the worst or the heaviest activity. Although today we did not see anything approaching severe levels, maybe near severe, but nothing in terms of exceptional, wind or hail. But certainly, again, these storms with all of this moisture in the air, squeezing out that moisture and making for more bouts of brief, heavy, if not briefly, torrential rain. So that's New York radar. Let's go to the radar over in Albany. And just get back to, I jumped the gun here for a second. We'll show you Albany here. And for the most part, I saw Chuck Cardillo, who's up in the Catskills, mention the fact that he was actually able to mow the lawn today. Congratulations, Chuck. But it looks like right now there are showers and storms that are advancing in your general direction from the south and from the west. So you may be seeing some wetness not too long from now, as that area of showers and storms I pointed out on the New York radar, again, is moving on a course to the east-northeast. So places like up in the mid and upper Hudson Valley, you may be getting a bit of wetness now from these storms over the course of the next hour or two. Let's go south of New York down to, let's say, the Fort Dix radar. And again, this is actually the out of Wrightstown, New Jersey. And you can see, once again, bordering eastern Pennsylvania and moving into western and now central New Jersey are these showers and storms. And some of them are rather potent. The rain, heaviest in the zones where there's red and orange. But again, as I just noted, these areas are beginning to fade a bit as we approach sunset. Although, again, still a copious amount of moisture for these storms to tap into to provide some significant or heavy rainfall. I just want to go down to the Dover radar because I was noticing that there was quite a bit of activity. Here we go. This again is is actually Dover / Ellendale radar, and you could see that most of the state of Delaware undergoing, I would say, moderate to possibly even in some cases heavy activity, especially over northern Delaware, maybe toward Wilmington and Newark. But again, this is beginning to fade a bit as we go into the latter part of the evening. Later tonight, after midnight, a lot of what you see here will probably fade out completely, and then we'll recharge again during the day tomorrow. But tomorrow may be very well the last time that we'll have to deal with this kind of weather, because it's looking more and more like Thursday and Friday will be dry days, sunny to partly cloudy days. And as I mentioned yesterday, because the turn in the wind will be out of a light northwesterly direction, that should direct lower humidities. Now, again, the dew points are more likely to be in the 60 to 65 range, and normally we would categorize that as muggy conditions. But when you've been sitting around for several days with dew points at or above 70, to see the dew points drop to 60 to 65, everything is relative. And certainly, if I had a choice between a 70 dew point and a 60 or 62 dew point, I would prefer the latter as opposed to the former. And that looks like the case for Thursday. So even though Thursday by normal standards would be called a humid or a muggy day, a lot of people will step outside and say, it feels so much nicer today, as opposed to what we were dealt over the weekend and what we were seeing at the beginning of the week. So I know I am, and I'm sure a lot of people will be looking forward to that. But there is a drawback to having the winds coming from a drier northwest direction.
And what is that drawback, Joe?
Joe mentioned, well, you mentioned, I was going to throw it to you. So you mentioned what the drawback is. You already mentioned it as to what is going to happen over the next couple of days here. It's happening in the Midwest.
Oh, well, the smoke is going to be coming back.
Yes.
And in fact, I was looking at the smoke forecast map loop, and there's some heavy duty smoke up in eastern Canada that is coming in. All right, I lost you again. Let me see if I can fix you. Hold on. You still there?
Yeah, I mean, it would appear that when I stop sharing, this is when we have this problem.
This issue, yes. It's an issue. So why don't you share again?
All right.
We had this happen yesterday.
And now I'll unshare.
And hold on. Let's see if I can fix it. Do it this way. Okay, try this. Oh, God. Yep, there you go. Now I know what the solution is when that happens. All right.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
You want me to get the smoke map ready, or?
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and get that ready? And in the meantime, I'm going to switch over and do the satellites here, because we do have, actually considering that there's only one severe thunderstorm warning that popped up a little while ago. There are still considerable lightning strikes going on. Let me get out of the way. And you can see on this satellite loop over New Jersey, coming out of eastern Pennsylvania now and over New Jersey, still getting lightning strikes happening. Looks like a cell has just moved into Orange County and running straight south from there. Down into southern New Jersey, and then you get into the reds here, so there's some serious lightning strikes going on over the Delmarva Peninsula and down into northeastern North Carolina. Also a few in upstate New York and north central New York, but compared to yesterday, it is definitely a lot less with regards to the number of lightning strikes that are going on. When we go to the full U.S. loop, you can see there's just a couple of patches of thunderstorms coming out of Arkansas and moving into northeast Louisiana and into Mississippi, and that area actually is shrinking. And then other than that, stray cells. It was a beautiful day here in the southeast in Georgia. It had just a few patchy clouds here and there, but it was mostly sunny for much of the day. I think I got to 83 today, so I'm guessing that Atlanta must have got to 90. And we're starting to see some storms firing up in the Oklahoma Panhandle and into southwestern Kansas. And this is where our friends at the Storm Prediction Center have a moderate risk tonight. Oddly enough, usually when we see a moderate or enhanced risk in this area, we expect to see a big area of tornado risk, but not the case. Just 2% risk of tornado. So the big deal here is going to be the wind, where they have a 30 to 45% probability of winds of 65 knots or greater. Oh, they decided to update it while I was talking. So let's go back to the wind. They just watch feverishly. So wind is the big deal here, and also hail in the hatched areas, both in the ones in Nebraska and South Dakota, and down in the moderate risk zone in south central Kansas or southwest Kansas, 15 to 30% of 2-inch diameter hail or greater. So I mean, this is some serious stuff. Size. Almost. Yeah. But they only had, by the way, with the marginal risk, the area that they showed for the for eastern New York, down through New Jersey, eastern PA, and then further south into coastal Virginia and North Carolina, only a 5% chance that there was going to be some wind issues. So they didn't. SPC didn't think it was a big deal, and the truth is, it was from that standpoint, it wasn't. Rain is the bigger story here, and of course we still have flood watches up for eastern Pennsylvania and for much of the western counties of New Jersey. Tomorrow, it's a couple of areas of marginal risk. We've got a marginal to slight risk in southeast Minnesota, western Wisconsin, northeastern Iowa, and that comes with 2% tornado risk areas there, and also in Nebraska and parts of southeastern Wyoming. And on day 3, we are looking at a marginal to slight risk in Indiana, western Ohio, slight risk in northwest Indiana, much of northern Illinois, and then you got the marginal risk that goes up into Wisconsin and over into Michigan. So the full view U.S. radar, as we take a look at that, you see the showers and storms over New Jersey. Now, I wonder, are they going to hold together when they're moving very slowly? It's like the cells are moving north-northeast, but the area is slowly pivoting to the east. And this is really a measure of how slow this ridiculous cold front is moving. Because when you look at the 21Z surface map, Joe, I mean, they actually have it as stationary now through central New York, central PA, down into eastern Virginia, and then in eastern North Carolina. That front actually passed me because I had dew points in the 50s today, which was really nice. But this front has slowed to a crawl, and we're going to need another day for this upper trough to get out of the way.
And if you remember, the mid to long-range progs last week had this front passing through early on Monday. Now here it is late Tuesday, and we're still waiting for this darn thing to get on by. But again, the slow movement of the front and the slow movement of the associated showers and storms is such that, if they keep on moving that slowly, and they are diminishing now, the peak strength, they were more robust, let's say, a couple of hours ago. If they take this long to move, by the time they do reach me or places up in the, let's say, up in the mid and upper Hudson Valley, they may be hardly anything to write home about, aside from maybe a few showers, again, because of that slow movement. So what can I tell you? Not that I'm, not unhappy about that, if that does be the case, because, as I said, we've already received more than our fair share up here with 1.5 inches. And the other thing is, and we talked about this last week, was that on the latest drought map, which was made up last Thursday, they had broad areas of abnormally dry over much of the Northeast. And I'll bet you now that that's not going to be the case when we see the update this coming Thursday, because we were talking last week of upwards to 4 inches or more of rainfall. And for parts of New Jersey, you just mentioned, Joe, they've had, 5-6 inches already. And looks like more to come, perhaps for a while this evening, and a bit more tomorrow.
Yeah. And WPC, now this covers us through next Tuesday night. So this includes the 4th of July. So over the next 7 days, showing 1.5 inches or more in eastern Pennsylvania and western New Jersey. Now some of that is also tonight. And there's a small little blotch of red there up in the northeasternmost part of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, northwestern part New Jersey, and into the Catskills, where we've got about a 2 to 2.5 inch area. Also, significant rains of 1.5 to 2.5 inches plus for central and northern New England and northeastern New York. The Ohio Valley, 1.5 inches to some places 2.5 inches, and down into the Tennessee Valley as well, extending back into the Central Plains. The West is fairly dry, but that's not exactly breaking news because that's what it's supposed to be doing out there. So you're right about the fact that we've had this break from the smoke, and now as we get this upper trough out of the way, I'm trying to bring up the 500 millibar map, but it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. But here we go. Should have it here momentarily. So when we look at the 500 millibar map, there is smoke. That's, you can see how the trough is tonight. Actually, this was from this morning. We move it further to the east. It's take another day for it to move along. But once it goes by, those upper air winds are going to turn northwest, The low level winds might be a little bit, the lower level winds might be a little bit more important because a lot of the smoke that's building up in Quebec again is going to be moving southwestward and then moving southeastward. And as we get into Thursday, especially, there's a bit of a northwest flow. It isn't much of one, but there is a bit of a northwest flow. So any smoke that's up in this area might get caught up in this. It's not letting me. There you go. Any smoke that's up in this area in Quebec is probably going to get caught in that weak northwest flow and get drawn down.
Right.
And then of course we've got the ridge over Texas that briefly shifts eastward into the middle of the Gulf states, only to eventually just get squashed as we go into the weekend. So that'll be good news for those folks that are experiencing the excessive heat. That should start to reduce a bit as we head into the weekend. But we've got another couple of troughs to deal with over the weekend and into Monday, and it's going to take another 3 days for those to move through. But when we get to Tuesday, the 4th of July, we got a nice northwest flow in the upper atmosphere. So I'm still going to hold on the idea, Joe, that the 4th of July is going to turn out to be a fairly good day.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Joe. My forecast for next Tuesday, Independence Day, 4th of July Day, I went for sunny to partly cloudy. I did not mention any kind of precipitation threat. I know that there have been a few forecasters who maybe this is more of a CYA forecast because it's a holiday, big holiday, than anything else, but they mentioned like a 10 or 20% chance of a shower. But I think for the 4th of July, it's going to be dry, sunny to partly cloudy, and temperatures well up into the 80s. It may very well be a great day for the pool or a great day to head out to the beach. The waters, the Long Island Sound waters and the ocean waters are still relatively cool, but you gotta go and jump in the water somehow or sometime. And 4th of July at this vantage point right now, it's still again a week away. And with guarded optimism, I'll say that we will have a break and get some nice weather, as we will, I believe, on Thursday and Friday of this week. Although, again, that northwest flow may be not doing us a favor by funneling in some of that smoke. In fact, when you get a chance, I have the smoke, the future cast for
Okay,
smoke.
well, let me run through this. So we've got these storms this evening that will eventually translate eastward and play themselves through over southern New England and Long Island. I don't know how much they hold together, but they go out. Tomorrow, finally, the upper trough comes through with the cold front, so there might be another chance for a shower or thunderstorm, but they seem to be more numerous as you go north up into New England and less so as you go south. So perhaps they will be few and far between tomorrow. And then, as you said, Thursday and Friday look good. Actually, looking at the map on Thursday, there's hardly anything precip-wise over much of the country until the late afternoon and evening when we start to see thunderstorms bubbling up in New Mexico and Colorado and up in the western plains. But in the east, it looks fine. And in the southeast, it looks fine. There's a little disturbance that brings a couple of showers and thunderstorms early Friday morning to me and into western North Carolina. But the northeast looks good. And then we start to see cells fire up in Virginia. And actually, also a very strong line of storms that forms late next week with energy that's coming across the southwest and firing off thunderstorms in the eastern parts of Colorado, western Kansas, down into Texas. We'll see if that holds together. But these are sort of patchy areas here and there, but much of the weather around the country doesn't look too bad. And then as we head into the weekend, you are going to start to see chances for showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. Doesn't rain all day, obviously. There's going to be dry stretches. Some folks are not going to see any rain at all. They pick up a bit more on Sunday as a front nears and takes an extra day to come through on Monday with some chance for some showers and storms. But then Tuesday looks fine. And if you want to stretch it out into Wednesday, that looks pretty good too. So it's we have reason to be optimistic. I think most of probably a good part of the time for the weekend is going to be fine. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, there'll be periods where somebody's going to wind up with some showers and thunderstorms, but there's going to be places where it's just not going to do very much. So you just have to choose wisely, I guess, and make sure you're in the right place at the right, for these things. And Mr. Rayo has the smoke map, so he can take a look at that.
Right. I'm already sharing it. So
It's on the screen now.
there it is. There it is. And this is as of 4 o'clock this afternoon. So you can see that according to this, we're already experiencing smoke, although it's a very light smoke on the order of 1 to 10 parts per million. But now I want to show you what's going to happen in the hours to come. And so we'll move. This is 4 o'clock this afternoon, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I mean, like right now, nothing really to worry about as far as smoke is concerned. But then as we continue, notice, if you will, that area from Buffalo to Binghamton right here. And as you mentioned, we're seeing the winds now, the upper level winds shifting more out of a northwest direction. So where do you think that's going to be going? So we continue to move along here. 10 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. This area, this zone, if this is correct, is indicative of 250 plus parts per million. This is at the top of the scale. You see the legend down here. So this is about as bad as this map can forecast for, and it will be right over the tri-state area, if you want to believe this and take this at face value, right over the New York City metropolitan area tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So the air and the smoke is going to increase supposedly quite dramatically in the next 12 hours, and the quality of the air is going to be diminishing, going down very rapidly. So now I have not seen this is an update. Earlier today, the map didn't show this, but this is the latest future cast for smoke on the smoke map. I haven't seen what goes on beyond this. So this is for 6 a.m. tomorrow, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So actually, the worst of it is supposedly tomorrow morning. And then as we move into the midday hours, the smoke presumably is going to thin a bit. And we continue here. Here's another big blob of rather dense smoke, which is going to be affecting parts of northeastern Connecticut and central Massachusetts and on up through the Connecticut River Valley, Vermont and New Hampshire. That would be for 7 o'clock tomorrow night, almost 24 hours from now. And then as we continue moving on, did we go back to, this is 2 a.m. on the 29th. Okay, so, yeah, so this is going to continue. This is for the 29th is Friday, and 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday. We're going to have to deal with this again. And, yeah, so you get the idea that we have not had to deal really with smoke as an issue over the last several days, thankfully, but it's going to be coming back presumably big time, first thing in the morning tomorrow, and will continue to be with us from tomorrow right on into Friday of this week, and in varying degrees. So there you go. The smoke is coming back, Joe.
It is. It is. All right, let's see what happens when you unshare.
Well, I'll stop sharing right now.
Oh.
And I stopped sharing.
Okay, hold on. You came and went. So I know how to fix it now. So just a second. Well, before I do that, we bring you back up. Just to show you, we do have extensive air quality alerts now that are up for the western Great Lakes and also the central lakes, Michigan, Illinois, northern and southern Indiana, all of Wisconsin, all of Iowa, southern and eastern Minnesota, also now western Pennsylvania, western and central New York, a few areas across North Carolina with air quality alerts going up. So I suspect in the next couple of days we're going to see more of this. And those fabulous colors that you see in Tennessee, that really dark red and into northwestern Alabama, northeastern Mississippi. Excessive heat watches there, and in the purple it's excessive heat warnings. In the orange it's all heat advisories. And we've got the severe thunderstorm watches that are up right now up in the western plains in the salmon color, if you want to call it that, and also some excessive heat being indicated in the interior parts of California. So that pretty much covers it with regards to the watches and warnings. And let's see if I can now bring Mr. Rayo back. I just had to turn. I had to turn the ceiling fan on because it's getting hot in here.
I'm wondering, what's the story with significant smoke coinciding with periods of heavy showery rain? Will the rain that comes down tomorrow have any kind of residue in it? Is it not going to be a clear type of rain or precipitation?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow your question.
Well, I mean, if we're going to have so much smoke over the next 24 hours, and we still are expecting bouts of showery rains tomorrow, does that mean that the rain that comes down tomorrow will have particulate matter in it?
It might have a little bit in it, but I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I would think that it would be worse if it were to rain on Thursday and Friday, and we don't think it's going to for Thursday and Friday. So we could at least be thankful for that. I'm trying to switch you back in because how I got you back on before worked. Now it didn't work. So I can't get you on the screen. So let's do...
you want me to share again briefly?
Yeah, try that. Share. This is just... I don't know what the issue is.
And now I'll unshare.
And now unshare. Okay, now let's see if I can bring you back up. Yep, you're there. All right, let's do Bill Huber. I don't know what happened. Bill Huber's been trying to get on, and somehow he got accidentally banned. I don't know. I can't check till after the show is over. But right now, why don't you try logging out of YouTube and then logging back in and see if that works? Because I don't think you probably should still be there because this is not your bowling night. All right, there we go. So let me get rid of this.
Frank Riccio says lots of random commercials showing up on the show tonight. That's YouTube.
Yeah, that's not me.
And if we weren't a viable or significant YouTube program, you wouldn't see any of those commercials. They wouldn't waste.
Well, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, they wouldn't waste their time putting commercials on a program that nobody's watching, but they know that a lot of people are watching. Not just on the chat board, but there are a lot of lurkers out there as well. So
yes, I noticed. I noticed that our numbers go down at certain points and then go back up. So I'm thinking for whatever reason, the algos are throwing commercials in, folks. There's nothing I can do about it. That's what YouTube does. Okay, here we go. Let's see how smart everybody is tonight. Because we're going to switch off the category of weather and go on to something else. So tonight on Briller Jeopardy, we're going to talk about countries that begin with a certain letter, such as the letter I. Can you name the countries that begin with the letter I?
Well, there's two that jump out at me.
There's 8 of them.
Okay,
so which 2 jump out at you?
Iran and Iraq.
Iran and Iraq, yes, that's correct. Italy, Maggie P's got that. Rich Rothmansky's got Israel and Indonesia. Chuck Cardillo, India. And James Fox adds Iceland and Ireland. So I think you got them all. Iran, Iraq, Indonesia, Iceland, India, Israel, Italy, Ireland. Okay, next letter. You ready?
Yes.
The letter J. And there's only 3 of them. The
Japan?
Letter J. Japan, correct. Christinapedia got the hard one. Jordan.
Okay. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see?
There's one left, folks.
Carry me home.
And Sammy Presley gets the last one, which is Jamaica. So it's Japan, Jordan, and Jamaica. Now, what countries begin with the letter Z? The letter Z.
Zanzibar?
No.
Really? Zanzibar is not a country?
No, apparently not.
Trish Baraccio said Zanzibar.
Bobby Whitaker got one, and Michael McGuire got the other. Zimbabwe and Zambia. Zimbabwe and Zambia. Of course, now, Joe, you're going to tell me that you've been in both countries to see eclipses.
No, I have not been to either one of those countries. I'm working on it.
Oh, please do. The nations that begin with the letter R. R.
Rhodesia.
Rhodesia doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, okay.
So
Christopedia said Rhodesia too.
Yes. Keith James, Romania. Sammy Presley, Russia. Dennis Cassia, Romania. Helen Bertona got Romania. So everybody's like, must all like Romanian food because everybody's putting Romania on there. And Rich Rothmansky gets the one that we were looking for that no one was getting, and that's Rwanda, which I think used to be what Rhodesia was. I think. So there you go. I'm out of nations. Now, how many of these nations send contestants to the Miss Universe pageant?
Oh, well.
Oh,
I stopped watching Miss Universe after Bob Barker stopped being the host.
Right. Well, yeah, and June Lockhart used to be the co-host. By the way, yesterday was June Lockhart's 98th birthday.
Wow. God love her.
Happy birthday, Miss Lockhart. We love you.
He was on 3 top-rated primetime network shows, and that's very hard to do. On Lassie, Lost in Space, and people don't seem to remember, she took over after B. Benaderet died on Petticoat Junction.
Yes. The last season of Petticoat Junction was June Lockhart was in it.
And interestingly, she played the role of Dr. Janet Craig, and I didn't learn until recently that there's a flower by the name of Janet Craig. I guess that's where they got the name. So
could be. All right, you know what? I got to call my service guy. Yes. Now we had a super chat hit, and unfortunately, I can't see it. So I didn't see it, but we did get a super chat hit. So whoever hit the tip jar tonight, thank you very much.
I did not see it at all myself.
It must have came really early.
Oh, Frank Scalera?
Frank Scalera just hit it now.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Frank, for the super chat hit. Oh, I've got it. Paul Roman must have hit it earlier.
Yeah.
Hitting super chat. Yeah, he hit it at 6:30 tonight. That's why I didn't see it. So thank you, Paul Roman. I'll work on seeing what's going on with William Uber, what the issue is. So everybody, we'll be back tomorrow at
7:35.
7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you're all here, okay? And, well, you know what? They're running so many YouTube commercials, I'll skip hours tonight. And so we'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Au reservoir.